In our study of linear kinetics, for that matter, kinetics in general, when in life we're in a place where it's not appropriate to have displacement, either linear or angular, we really need to be in equilibrium. Contrast that with we're involved in an activity where right when it's necessary we need to be in movement. I think about being in London and knowing that the traffic, as a pedestrian, you're waiting on the sidewalk, you have to look the opposite direction because they're driving on the other side of the street. And right when that light turns and you've checked, you want to get on moving. Or the sprinter, either in a swimming sprint or a running sprint, when the starting gun sounds, you've got to be in motion. And so as that person, as that athlete or the coach of that athlete, you need to be primed to lose your stability and go to mobility. So that's the section we're in. This PowerPoint is available to you in Module 2. And we're going to look at these different aspects of being poised to be radically stable or ready to move, be in an unstable position to promote mobility. All of these that are underlined, there's some intriguing videos that help you understand the concept. First of all, static equilibrium. It's an object that has is at rest, and all forces that would tend to cause linear or angular movement are at zero. There's no movement going on, and there's stable and unstable equilibrium. I wonder what you would think about this. I walk on Shelter Island and I see people who are stacking the breakwater rocks like this. I'd say that's somewhat unstable, meaning it would take very little force to change inertia. And so that's really static equilibrium, but dynamic equilibrium is where something is in motion, but the forces acting are equal and opposite. So I think about this example. This experienced person, the forces are equalized in such a way that the person doesn't have unwanted rotary or linear displacement, and he has a stability, this dynamic equilibrium that allows him to move and maintain his balance. So stability is the resistance to the disruption of motion. Yeah, it's a resistance to being pitched into a rotary or angular direction that you don't want to go. Balance is defined as the ability to control equilibrium. There's static balance. You could say, I'm not sure that you can see that real well, the lighting is not great, but this is a gymnast on the rings doing an iron cross. He's way balanced. Forces are equalized. He's not moving out of that position until he makes the choice to do that. So static balance is the capacity to resist movement. And then dynamic balance, the system is in motion. These are two very different systems. This is dynamic balance, is where you lose your balance and then regain it. Lose it and regain it. The interplay between being an unstable system and moving into system. This is way important to us. I don't think that we get enough coaching necessarily on this. When you look at these people who, at the beginning of the swim portion of a triathlon or an open water swim, these people are still on the deck when these people have lost their stability, they're moving into mobility. They're late. Maybe they didn't hear the signal, but more than likely they didn't get in a position to lose their stability and move into mobility. And I want to draw your attention that stability has an inverse relationship to mobility. You could really praise these two guys for being way stable, but that doesn't help them get to the finish line, and they're competing against the clock or against other competitors. And so in coaching, or for that matter in gait retraining, it may be that you need to prompt your clients on losing stability so that it promotes mobility. There's one feature of or characteristic or sign of people with Parkinson's. They'll come to an uneven or perceived uneven threshold, and they'll be frozen. They can't move on forward. They're not able to process the new, and part of helping them with their gait is to say, now when you get to here, allow yourself to tip forward and your leg will come forward. Not an easy deal, but part of gait training. So in a way, I want you to think of stability is the opposite of mobility. If you need to be stable, you need to have a really large base of support. If a person's having difficulty with balance, it may be that that needs to be overloaded. Have small base of support. Your proprioceptors and the muscles that should be stabilizing you overloaded, then that'll help you be more stable as you overload the balance. And then I've alluded to this. In order to really have good stability, you need to have the proper base of support, and you need to position your center of gravity inside your base of support if there needs to be an emphasis on equilibrium, stability, and balance. If you want to move to mobility, you need to purposefully get your center of gravity outside your base of support. And so I've provided for you principles of stability. This is in the PowerPoint. I'll let you read those. And then I'm more keen on this because I don't think it gets taught enough or coached effectively. And that is that in these different sport settings, these athletes need to move away from stability to increase their likelihood of having enhanced mobility. And so what needs to happen is the center of gravity needs to be placed very close to the edge of support so that they lose their balance. So for these people to dig the ball, they need to have probably a narrow base of support, get their center of gravity where it can go any direction, forward, back, side to side, or displaced vertically. This athlete led off first base. He needs to be ready to lose his balance toward the base, and in class, we'll work on that. And so, in terms of functioning appropriately for being radically stable or being radically mobile, the base of support and where the center of gravity is in relationship to that need to be taught. It's just not intuitive. Okay, so we'll manage this in class and lab. We'll actually move into positions of great stability and preparation for mobility. Bless you. Bye.